Greetings, everyone. I'm Eric Paulson with Your Essential Practice, and for today's rune reading, we are going over two very big aspects changing in the cosmos here on Wednesday. At the time of this recording, it is Friday, so we do have a few days before, and probably another uploaded video before this big shift happens. So, what's the shift I'm talking about? It is Mercury retrograde in Virgo and the Sun moving into Virgo. Right, so a lot of people will tend to be very meticulous and very detail oriented in the coming weeks and months, especially with the Sun entering into Virgo. However, it is key to be not so hypercritical and super judgmental in those energies as they come about. So, what really is beautiful about that, with Mercury in retrograde, Mercury, one of the ruling planets of Virgo. So, Mercury actually rules also Gemini. As well as Virgo. So Virgo wasn't always ruled by Mercury, so we can get into those debates and topics later. If you'd like to just mention that in the comments below, I'll be more than happy to discuss that with you. That's not what this rune reading is about. Okay, so let's get back on track here with this Mercury retrograde in Virgo is going to be really good because it'll give us a chance to review those sort of aspects of self, of the collective. Are we being too hypercritical? Are we being too meticulous, too OCD in that sort of a respect? Are we being hyper judgmental, right? So the Mercury in retrograde gives us a chance to slow down and review those aspects of self, right, before committing, before moving forward, before possibly making some very erroneous choices here in the future. So erroneous is, again, that's erroneous or mistake-like choices. So with this Sun and Virgo energy coming up, and this Mercury retrograde in Virgo, we're going from a very look at me sort of energy with the Leo and the like, I'm firm, I'm here, and then it's really easy to just keep transitioning that into a toxic way with the Virgo energy, like I'm going to be super meticulous about this now, and I'm going to be like so detail oriented, I'm going to be pushing people away from me. So that's not the kind of aspect that is moving healthy in a healthy direction with these Virgo energies coming up, right? This really gives us a chance to dot the I's, cross the T's, make sure that everything as far as communication, right? Mercury is a planet of communication. And Virgo is very detail oriented, a lot more hygienic, sort of a sense of wellness, right? So a lot of us might be getting into our health and our wellness and our hygiene, not just like washing hands, right? Or how clean our living space is. This could mean also a cleanse spiritually. It could mean an energetic cleanse, right? It could mean a spiritual diet of what are we viewing on YouTube? Like, what's our viewing diet? What's our listening diet? What's coming into our ears and helping us discern our energies throughout the day, right? So this is a big review period coming up. So we're going to do a rune reading today as we get ready for these sort of energies transitioning into and away from the more Leo energies and getting more into the earth sign of Virgo. All right, everybody, how we doing today? That last new moon seemed to be pretty great for a lot of people. A lot of new energies coming through, a lot of new beautiful intentions coming through. Let's see what that means with moving into these energies of the Virgo, right? Of the beautiful, meticulous earth sign of Virgo. All right, so past influences are coming from, the horse rune. And this is more the sense of what we're doing as far as a pilgrimage, right, goes. And this is a trusted energetic source from the past, right? This is a journey that we've been going on. So this rune is called Ewas. This is about loyalty, right? So the horse rune is a beautiful rune to be coming from the past, right? In our current energies, we're in this sort of metamorphosis, a dawning of a new perspective, a dawning of a new practice, right? This is Dagas, this is day, clarity, revelation. I like to think of it as a cocoon, like a metamorphosis. So we're going through some very intense and very beautiful changes, everybody. This is really great because in our future actions, we're in more of that sense of identity. This is the 3D rune of manas. This is the self, humanity, culture, where our place is in the collective. A lot of us have been moving on literally and changing, whether that's a physical location or a job, right? Our future action taken for the best outcome is just to prepare for the hail. Prepare for the unintended eventualities, right? The things that we can't necessarily see coming, or the oops, I forgot something. So to make sure we're dotting our I's and crossing our T's. So this moving into the Virgo season is very beautiful energy for that, especially with Mercury going retrograde. It is not necessarily a bad thing. This is a chance for review, y'all. This is slowing us down out of that fire energy and making us into a more healthy, slower paced transition. Right, this is making sure all those details are covered, those eventualities, those unintended sort of things. This is Hagalas, the literal rune of hail. So this could mean a literal natural disaster. Peak hurricane season is coming. It is right around the corner here, y'all. And there are some intense ones coming up too. So if you're living around the United States, of course, we need to be wary of that. Natural disasters, right? This could be a destructive or creative force, right? So even hurricanes or volcanoes or earthquakes can be a way of birthing in new things. But this is definitely calling us, see, this is rune is irreversible. So is this metamorphosis. So this change that we're going through is calling us to be more prepared for these unintended eventualities. So that's your action taken for the best outcome. And right now, your thoughts and concerns about all of this are in your partnerships, in your spiritual gifts. This rune is Gibo. This is telling us that in our minds, where are we with this collective sense, right? Are we going to get that help for these unintended circumstances or eventualities, like natural sort of energies that might abruptly shift us to respond, right? Are we going to have those partnerships? Are we still going to have those gifts? The answer is yes. When we're moving forward, when we're in our healthy, divine aspects of self and the way we relate with others, that answer is always going to be a yes, because whatever happens naturally is what needs to happen, right? So that's the divine coaxing us into a direction as well, right? So possible problems as far as that goes, though, is your foundations, your legacy. What are you going to pass on? Okay, we always risk this whenever we're moving forward, whenever something unintended happens, right? When it was something like a natural disaster occurs, of course, our foundation is tested, right? And with our sense of aspects of self, with these beautiful collective energies, this is an energy of a trusted energy of a friend. This is a metamorphosis you're going through, so you're also changing. This is the rune of your sense of identity, like in the collective, right? And this is partnerships and gifts. With this happening, being prepared for these sort of things that happen, and when with these teamwork sort of energies around, this foundation can be rebuilt if it is torn down. It can always be rebuilt, right? However, this is sort of a test, right? So this is making us, is testing the foundation, testing those legacies, the beliefs, the paradigms that we pass on. Like, what are we leaving on for our future generations, right? This is Othala, right? Literally an inheritance or home. So a lot of that's going to be tested, and a lot of that is a possible issue for a lot of us. But let me tell you, when you're moving on in these firm steps with your others, with your teamwork, you're showing that healed divine masculine, the successful planting of a seed. You have endured all of this, and your foundation has stood that test, right? So this Virgo energy that we're moving into calls us to be very meticulous and very detail-oriented, not hypercritical, not hyper-judgmental. Trust that Mercury retrograde energy, okay? Because a lot of it will be preparing us for these unintended eventualities, these natural sort of occurrences that, oops, I forgot something sort of energies. This, and the sort of like teamwork energies. We have them here, here, and here, right? And we can always, when we're moving forward in that, right, we can always lead by example. If we're not sure what to do, if we have a good sense of what we think is right, we can always lead by example with our firm foundations and our convictions moving forward in faith, right? Knowing that we're always going to be divinely protected, divinely guided, right? So this is going to be an eventual test for a lot of us. But that healed divine masculine is there in the future. This is Ingwas. This is the God Freyr's rune, right? This is fertility, peace, and plenty. So moving forward in this healthy teamwork environment is going to be key for you in these next few days. Right? That Virgo energy, that shift from Leo can always be a little jarring. However, with Mercury slamming on the brakes, with this retrograde coming up the same day the sun transitions into Virgo, is going to be actually more of a help than a hindrance. Let's get some cards of clarification. These are the Soul's Journey cards. These are messages directly from Source, directly from Spirit, directly to your spirit, directly to your soul. So Divine, what sort of guidance do you have of clarification for this upcoming event with the sun transitioning in to Virgo and Mercury going retrograde in Virgo? For the third time this year, Mercury's going retrograde. Mercury goes retrograde 4 times a year, y'all. It's not anything new, right? Its orbit around the sun is shorter. So yes, it will go around and be retrograde 4 times out of the year for us. So what signs that goes retrograde in are going to be very key. So Divine, what sort of message of clarity do you have for the collective? All these shifts from Leo energies into Virgo. Beautiful earth sign of detail-oriented Virgo. Very beautiful, clean, very OCD at times it can seem, right? But that's not really always the case, y'all. Because Virgo just likes things the way that they're meant to be, in their purest form. Virgo's the virgin. So everything needs to be in its purest form. And so your thoughts and your diet, like I had mentioned before, like not just physical, like nourishment, but your mental, emotional, spiritual nourishment needs to be pure. Thank you, Divine, for this card. Let's see what it is. Empathy. This says, I am open to seeing both sides of a situation. Empathy. So being open to both sides of a situation is going to be key going into this Virgo season. Because Virgo likes things in a way that is meant to be. They can easily get tunnel vision when we're going forward. However, with that Mercury going retrograde in Virgo, that's going to be definitely more of a key for us to practice that empathy, to understand not everything needs to be hypercritical, hyper-judgmental, right? To that toxic degree. It'll be a lot easier for us to be in our empathy moving forward. So let's read about empathy. Again, it says, I am open to seeing both sides of a situation. You don't truly understand others' motivations if you haven't lived their lives and seen the world through their eyes. It's easy to judge another's behavior matched up against your own and label it as right or wrong. But you're missing an important part of the equation, the other person's history and personal path. Right? It's always easy for us to stand on the outside and be judgmental, but we don't know that, what they're going through, where they're coming from, what those energies are. We can have a good guess, but that's all it is a guess, isn't it? We are all sparks of the divine with a purpose here in the physical dimension, and we can all exert our free will. Some of us have lost our way along the path to love, and it's a human reaction to judge others before examining their journey through their eyes and with compassion. Your job is not to judge. Your job is to love and understand. In everything you do, do in love. Right? Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Thank you, Divine. All right, these are messages from the fairies. These are cards from the fairies. So, fairies, what sort of message do you have of clarity as we move into these Virgo energies? What message for the collective do you have here on this beautiful, beautiful day? We're moving on from Leo energies into the Virgo energies here on Wednesday. Wow, you just gave me a whole ton. Okay, let's just put those back. You want to say a lot. Let's meditate on this. Okay, and come up with more of what we need to express in a divine, purified thought, right? With this, use that some of that Virgo energy, fairies, when you are communicating with the collective on this clarity for today. What do you have to show for us? What do you have to tell us or offer us in communication? Okay. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Ooh, assertiveness. I don't think we've had this one yet. Stand up for your beliefs and only say yes if you really want to. Right? Virgos are very good at assertiveness, right? They keep things the way they ought to be, pure, virgin-like, right? The way that they're meant to be, right? Assertive is a good way to protect that energy, to make sure that any new energies entered into are done with very careful consideration, as to not adulterate the energies, right? As to keep it as pure as possible. So let's read about assertiveness. Again, this says, stand up for your beliefs and only say yes if you really want to. The one reason why the fairies are so happy is because they're assertive with each other. This trait is very different from aggression, which denies the rights of others. And it can also be confused with somebody being direct, right? And so directiveness comes from being assertive, like knowing and having that firm masculinity, right? That firm sense of self, right? Assertiveness, in contrast, honors everyone's rights, including your own. Assertive people are easy to get along with because you always know where you stand with them. Your current situation calls for you to be assertive. Speak your truth with love and let go of unhealthy, old communication habits. Additional meanings for this card are read books or take classes on assertiveness, or don't do anything out of guilt or obligation. Definitely don't want to do anything out of guilt or obligation, out of that 3D realm, okay, out of that 3D sense of identity, especially after committing yourself on this pilgrimage to this change. When we're wrapped up into that, we risk losing our partnerships and gifts, and this hail can be a destructive force. Okay, and that will definitely rock our foundation. Okay, when we're moving forward through that in a healthy way, not out of guilt or obligation, you're doing it assertively, knowing your sense of identity, your sense of self, your transformation, your respect. You're honoring your path. You're honoring your foundation and your partnerships and friendships. You're prepared for those eventualities, and you are moving forward with that healed divine masculine. This is irreversible, y'all. So make sure that assertiveness isn't to a toxic degree, right? Be a good role model for others by practicing this trait is another meaning. Some more are to say no to this request. So if you have a request on your mind, right, you're being called to be assertive and to possibly say no. Practice saying no in small ways. If you are lacking in that throat chakra energy, you might need to heal the throat chakra and practicing your assertiveness. Or even, I would venture to guess, solar plexus or root chakras as well. Okay. To be assertive is not to be toxic, right? It's just recognizing and having value in a wholesome manner and honoring your path and others. You can still be assertive and not be treated like a doormat at the same time, right? So another meaning is to be true to yourself and your values, right? One of my biggest values is empathy, and I'm assertive in my empathy, right? So that's interesting to state that, right? Because a lot of what I'm being called to do in the 3D is to let go of that empathy and just be assertive and be a dick. Well, that's not going to happen. Sorry, y'all, but I'm assertive in my empathy because I have an agape love for all of you, right? We're all in this healing together, so I empathize with so many people out there, and I'm assertive in that because I am committed to this path with you. So let's honor this path together. Let's all be ready for those unprepared type of eventualities, right? Have our firm foundations in place and focus on healing that divine masculine going into this Virgo season. Let's pull a chakra token here and see what other kind of meditation we can go over to help aid us throughout this way. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. That is the sacral chakra. So the sacral chakra is going to be really good for healing that divine masculine, y'all. This is going to teach us to approach emotions and sexuality and creativity in healthy ways. In our empathy and our assertiveness, this is going to be interesting in tying those all together. 417 hertz is the sacral chakra's solfeggio frequency, and it's located just below the navel, and it relates to sexuality, creativity, intimacy, and pleasure. If you feel if you feel sexual repression, lack of creativity, intimacy issues, or someone who's emotionally isolative, in self-regards, then you'd be someone who needs to work with the sacral chakra, right? And so maybe that's talking to your assertiveness here. Listening to the solfeggio frequency of 417 hertz will elicit more openness, creativity, and sensuality, and it'll help you empathize more as well, because that creativity will open doors of understanding to other people's paths, like less hypercriticality, right? Less hyper judgmental. So definitely value that Mercury retrograde in Virgo. It's going to be more of a blessing than a curse for a lot of you, right? So yeah, we still might have some electronics malfunction here and there. That's just kind of what Mercury retrograde does. So take those as opportunities to go within and figure out, why is that making you upset? Or what in that moment is what you're addressing that could be addressed by reflecting inwardly and healing inwardly, right? So definitely, as a result, you'll have more peace and harmony throughout your world, throughout your life. You'll be more secure in addressing that male aspect within yourself. So everyone has that divine feminine, divine masculine, right? I see M, almost an M, right? I see more masculine. I mean, this is definitely screaming at us to be secure in your divine masculine. This is, whoever's watching this today really needs to hear this message, right? That our divine masculine is definitely needing to be worked on. The answers aren't here or here or here or here. They're within you, in your creative, in your sacral, right? So the mudra for the sacral chakra is pretty fun. We're taking our hands in the prayer position, and we're folding the middle finger and top and the index finger underneath, or excuse me, over our thumbs. We're tucking our thumbs underneath those, and the ring fingers and pinky fingers touch at the tips, and they stay outwards. So you end up with something like this, right? And you can hold that right over your reproduction area, right? And that sound is VAM when we're meditating, VAM. So again, y'all, assertiveness, empathy, sacral chakra, 417 hertz. You can figure out the color orange, of course. Also salmon, more like not so pink, but salmon into the gold and orange colors are types of lights that you want to focus on nurturing in that sacral region in yourself while you're meditating, okay? I love this beautiful divine masculine energy healing the 417 hertz, working through as we prepare for the sun going into Virgo and Mercury retrograde into Virgo. That mudra again is like this. We're tucking in the thumbs so that it looks kind of like a pair of binoculars, right? And then we're leaving the pinky and ring fingers up like that. And we just rest it over our pelvic region, right? And it's VAM, VAM at 417 hertz. That's 417 for the solfeggio frequency. That's going to help us with our creativity and being open and honest with ourselves, and more accepting of others, to be open for that empathy, like less hypercritical, right? Less hyper judgmental. It's really preparing us for this Virgo energy season. So I believe there will be one more upload as we enter into those energies. So if we can do this again, we'll check back in like 3 days time, and we'll double check on these energies again and figure out what additional work we can do. But for now, we have our homework, don't we? We're always looking to heal those aspects of self, the divine feminine and the divine masculine. Today, what we're being divinely called to do is to work on healing that divine masculine. So a lot of us have that divine feminine definitely in place. Y'all are wonderful. You're beautiful out there. That Virgo type energy is definitely like, yeah, let's do this. But let's just take a beat, let's do a self-check. Are we ready? So if the answers all are yes, congratulations. You're on your way to being an enlightened individual. So, but for a lot of you out there, let's focus on healing that divine masculine, right? Successfully planting those seeds, right? This is going to be beautiful, y'all. Collectively, we're healing. Can you feel it? I can feel it. All right. I've been Eric Paulson at Your Essential Practice. If you would like a personal rune reading from me, please contact me at youressentialpractice@gmail.com. And I will definitely speak with you about rates and what type of videos or what sort of speaking you would like me to do on your behalf. So, again, have a blessed, beautiful, and abundant day. Namaste.